Yes, hello, welcome to the VALK Talks, where you can get all information about voiceover artists. So I am your host, Andrew Opere, and yes, today we have so many things lined up for you, but before we start, yes, there's a little bit of the house rules. Please keep yourself muted if you are not speaking, so that there are no interruptions during the presentation. And yes, this presentation is going to be highly interactive. So whatever information that you hear that is coming through, yes, go ahead and put your questions in the chat so that whoever is interacting will go ahead and answer for you. And yes, currently I'm in transit, so please do bear with the background soundtrack that you hear. Yes, so currently we have a lot in store for you. We're going to be talking about four key topics today. We're going to be talking about how to engage during workshops, how to introduce yourself, how to network online and offline, and how to prepare yourself. And the main key theme with this whole workshop today is about marketing, how to market yourself. Because the reality is you want to get those jobs and there are people looking for you. So how else will they find you if you do not put yourself out there? So yes, we have a very magnificent team with us today who's going to be give us a value of information. And we're going to wait for just a couple of minutes while so that we can kick this off. But even as we wait, I'd like to introduce Jazz.
Hi.
Who is the one of my admins. Hello, Jazz.
What's up? What to do? What to do? What to do?
Well, Jazz is our admin who organizes all the communication regarding voiceover and anything. So if you need any assistance with communication, please reach out to Jazz. She will sort you out with your needs. If you have any questions, she's going to be manning the chat. So if especially pay attention when the presenter is speaking, go ahead and put your questions in the chat and put a Q in front of the question so that it's easy for us to identify the question, and we'll make sure that the presenter gets back to you. Yes, and you also have with us the head, the president of VALK herself. Please say a hello, Madam Eniye.
Going by the handle KK today. Hello. Nice to see you, Rosalia. And Cynthia. What's up, Obadiah? Yeah.
And for those of you who do not know our president, Her Excellency has been in the voiceover industry for several years, and notably is also known for being the voice of the Safaricom IVR. For those of you who are aware of Safaricom, when you call someone and they're not available, the person you're looking for is not available. Yes, that is her voice. And she will also be sharing with us a few tips. So you are in for a good time to get tips from seasoned practitioners how to do what you need to do. So yes, for them ramble, welcome everyone. I would like you to just share where are you logging in from and just say a quick hello.
I'll kick it off. Jennifer Kanari, with that wonderful intro. Thank you, Andrew. So I'm checking in, very excited about what we're going to learn today. And I am learning from the best. We all watch Cynthia. We've seen her rise. And today we're going to learn from everything that she's learned that has taken her to where she is. And so I'm excited. I'm checking in from chilly Nairobi, and I can't wait for us to kick off.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Madam President. Yes.
All right,
Welcome.
I'll say where I'm from. Hey, what's up? Jazz Mystery here, and I'm part of VALK. Very excited for this session as we're preparing for VO Africa 2022. It's one of the largest voiceover conferences in Africa, and so today is I don't know, I'm really excited because we don't really get to prepare ourselves for conferences. So this is going to be quite enlightening. I know that for sure. And we've got the amazing Cynthia who's going to be joining us. And also we've been preparing some really good info and tips and tricks. So yeah, I'll be joining you from Watamu, Kilifi County. And yeah, excited guys. This is going to be fun. Real good stuff. Thanks, Andrew.
Very welcome. Very welcome. Yes, I am currently in the Central Business District in transit. So yes, do bear with me a little bit. I'll put my video off since I'm in the mobile transition, but just as a brief intro for those of you who are just logging on right now, we're going to be discussing 4 things. We're going to be discussing how to engage during workshops, 2, how to introduce yourself, how to network offline and online, and how to prepare your marketing, because this is all about marketing. So that is what we're going to be doing today. And please, while you are, if you are not speaking, please mute yourself so that your background noise does not interfere with the speaker. And yes, so now we're going to go ahead and start off with how to engage during the workshops, the do's and don'ts. We're going to be having a few tips. And because next week we're going to be having the voiceover workshop. So we're trying to make sure that you are prepared, that you are able to take full advantage, not just of the knowledge that is shared during the workshop, but if you think that there are people that you would like to collaborate with, how is it that you can identify the people you like to collaborate with? How can you get the attention? And once you've gotten the attention, how can you seal the deal so that you can have a connection with them and start that business relationship? So there are a few do's and don'ts that we can talk about. And the very first one that I would recommend is to be active and participate in the chat, because everyone is looking. People are going to be asking questions. People will be needing your comments. So if by the end of the presentation, maybe you don't have a question, you can have a comment. And what this shows is it is recommended you have a comment because you've been actively listening to the material. So for example, if there's a point that stands out to you, or maybe there's a point that you would like to get some information from, go ahead and say that. And one of the key things, which I would say is another point, is when you are asking your question or making your comment, is to go ahead and introduce yourself and say where you're from. Because depending on the workshop, if it is an international workshop, say, yes, my name is Andrew Opere, and yes, I'm a voiceover artist from Kenya. And my question is 1, 2, 3, or my comment is, based on what you shared about how to engage in a workshop, I found that comment very powerful because of 1, 2, 3. Share your own insights on that comment. What this does, it does make you memorable, and it does draw the attention of, number 1, the presenter, because they see that you were listening. Number 2, you will see that people in the audience are listening. So you find that they will learn something from you. So while that is, I've shared with you 2 tips, I'd like to allow Jazz to share some other tips. Jazz?
Thanks for that, Andrew. So, sorry, I was just doing a bit of admin in the back. Could you tell me where you left off, actually? I was busy letting people in. I must
It's okay,
admit,
Jazz.
I did one of
So yes.
the main things that you said not to do, and I think I've just done that. Sorry, I apologize.
It is okay. So yes. So even this process is a very active one. So please make sure that you in the chat, each and every single one of you are expected to participate because this is real-time training. This is not something that is nice to hear and then you store it later on and say, oh yes, I attended that VOAC Talks and it was okay. But how has this impacted your life? What can you use from this to get to the next level in voiceover and beyond?
Right. Fantastic. So I think one of the main things is pay attention. That's one of the key things you've got to do when you're in a conference setting. I know for myself specifically, I never knew what it is that I'm supposed to be looking for in a conference, especially an online conference. It's not the same as actually going into a building like we used to back in the day when we had to prepare our business cards. And most of the time, the only reason I would go for a conference is if I was attached to a company and I was trying to go to another company, but never presenting myself and trying to get business for myself. So that you know, kind of changed. It kind of left me sort of floundering, not really knowing how to prepare and how to speak on my own behalf. So as you know, Andrew was talking about, we've got the VO 2022 workshop that's coming up. And just a point that I'd like to make that I don't think was mentioned is that this is the pre-workshop before the VOAfrica 22 conference is on. And then after that, what we want to do is we want to put everything that we've learned into action. And Jenny's going to be having some post VO 22 Africa workshops to get us, you know, using the information that we gather for that 3-day conference. So that's something that you definitely want to look out for. So as Andrew adequately put it, you know, just get yourself engaged in the workshop, and you want to, like he said, be active and make comments, applaud, and really sort of get yourself out there and noticed by the people who are in the group chats that you're in, because you do want to stand out. You do want to be memorable, not annoying, but memorable. I think there's a key difference between the two, and which we will talk about later, about how to appropriately engage with the people that you want to make a difference with. And so, but because we've got Cynthia with us, I don't even want to talk too much about other things. Well, what I really feel that is very important, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Cynthia, is how to appropriately introduce yourself to big players in the industry. That's one thing I'd love for you to help us understand.
Well, before we bring her on the introduction, just some during the workshop, I think we also mentioned it, is not just to sit and observe, but be active. That's one thing. The second thing is don't rabble when you're given an opportunity to speak. Be short and precise, because there's a very limited amount of time to communicate your thoughts. And that goes to the third point also of formulate your question and then ask and then share your thoughts. Because if you don't do that, people are going to tune out. You're going to be memorable, not in a good way. So, and like you said, so it is time to introduce our guest. She's going to take us through some very powerful points. And I will dare say, even in our group, when I've spoken to general people, the number 2 most marketed voiceover artist is in our room. Hello, how are you, Ayuma? And number 1 is our guest. And she's a voiceover artist who's been in the industry for over 10 years. and she's done local TV, radio, and online ads. Her resume internationally, she's worked with Sony Music, with US R&B singer Khalid. She's worked with YouTube, Google, UNICEF, Red Cross, among many others. She has a very warm, bold, clear, and engaging voice. And you can find her on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, on all socials at Cynthia Kimola. So catch her on YouTube. She has very impactful content that you can engage with. So without further ado, Cynthia Kimola, all the way from the US.
Hi, Andrew. You're such a ball of energy. Thank you so much, together with Jazz and Jenny, for inviting me to this roundtable. You know, this informal, how to just get ourselves together so that we can be able to make the most of the Voice Over Africa conference that is coming up. Just a short backstory on how we came to know about the Voice Over Africa conference. And I think Jenny is somewhere here as well. Yes, you can chip in as well. I remember just last year, I was just scrolling through LinkedIn, and then through LinkedIn, first of all, is like one of my favorite social media networks for networking. So that is tip number one. I was just scrolling through, and then because I also follow certain hashtags like voiceover and things like that, I was able to connect with Emeka, who is the founder of the Voice Over Africa conference, and he had put together like a poster showing that, hey, we are actually going to have the first ever Africa conference, voiceover conference. And then I looked at the lineup and I'm seeing there's a lot of West Africans there. South African, there was no representation, and there was no East African. Then I was like, hey, how can you call this a Voice Over Africa conference and I can't see any East Africans being represented there as speakers? And I told him, don't you know about Jennifer? And the VALK, you know, the Voice Actors League of Kenya. And that's how I was able to connect both of them. And that's how VALK is now like an active participant in the Voice Over Africa conference. So I just wanted to bring in that also to just show that through networking, I was also able to know about this conference, present it also to our VALK community, and now we are all able to join in. So one thing about this conference, it's bringing us together with experts. It's bringing us together with directors, producers, and your fellow voice actors from all over the world. It's not usually just people from Africa, though it's targeted to Africans. It's not just people from Africa who attend. So the good thing is always just be curious when you're attending a conference. And you can find that Jazz is always sending us the emails, reminding us about the speaker lineup, about the workshops. So it's also just prudent to just go to the website as well and look through the speakers and be able to see, okay, this is someone I would really want to connect with. For example, last year, and I can also see this year, we are having the two founders of Sovas, Joan Baker and Rudy Gaskins as well, who will be joining you. So one tip is have a look at the speaker lineup, all right? And then, because the social media networks are there, you can now start the pre-networking now and be like, hey, Joanne, or hey, Wakio, because Wakio is also going to speak on Swahili stuff and how to actually flourish with Kiswahili voiceovers and things like that. You can always start the pre-networking before the conference and be like, hey, I've actually signed up for the conference. I'm very excited about your particular workshop or your particular presentation, and I can't wait to meet you and I can't wait to participate. So you're now sowing the seeds as you go. You don't have to bombard them then. This is just if you want to, but you can always just start sowing those seeds now as you go. And then the other thing is, when I'm looking at a conference, I look at it from three different angles. Will it help me learn? Will it help me network? And will it help me grow? So these are the three like sections that you should, or pots as to say that you should want to be able to feel. So for example, with learning, as I mentioned, you need to be curious, you need to be open-minded, because there are things that we know, but we don't know everything. And someone might be approaching a person. Thank you, please mute. As I said, just have 3 objectives when you're coming into this conference. That's to learn, to grow, to network. So these are the 3 pots that you want to fill. And have an open mind, be curious. We don't think that maybe because you're a beginner, there's nothing that you're going to glean from this conference. And don't think just because you are an established voiceover artist, you've worked with different clients that, I know that there's nothing new that I'm going to learn. It's for you to just be humble and be able to take on the information and just soak it up, and you will be able to know for yourself what works for you or what doesn't work for you. So for example, there are very many workshops that I can see that have been lined up. And if you have paid for those workshops, then you have to really get the most out of your buck, because these workshops are with established or renowned directors. For example, the one with Everett. So what I'm referencing is just you going to the, can I share my screen, Jazz? I don't know. Let's see.
Yes, you can. It should be at the bottom of your screen. Or you can send it to me and I can share it for you.
Okay, no, just go to the VOAfrica conference so that people can know what I'm referencing.
Okay.
When I'm doing this, just go to the VOAfrica website, and then there's the speaker section.
Got it.
Yes, for example, Everett Oliver is a renowned voice acting director. Like, he will be able to know, you'll be able to know from him, if you're attending that workshop, what is it that directors are looking for? What is it that clients are looking for? How do you present yourself during an audition? How do you interpret a script and things like that? And I remember last year, I think we were with Jazz in the same room, or was it a workshop? And because it's all about the topic of learning, she actually volunteered under Joan Baker's workshop about script interpretation. And Jazz was the representative for Kenya, who was actually doing the reading, the voicing of the script, and she really shone through it. So the other thing is always participate. Yes, just scroll down. So these are the speakers for the conference. As I said, you can always start networking with them on all the social networks that they are on. You can start following them ahead of time, and if they're posting something like, for example, on Instagram, oh, I'm taking my trip to, oh, they're not coming, it's not physical, sorry. So it'd be like, hey, I'm preparing for the conference. You can always write them, tweet them, reply to their stories and say, I'm super stoked, I'm super excited for this one. The other thing is, if you have any questions or things that you've noticed maybe on their social media, or things that they usually talk about, just scroll down. You can see this lineup. Hey, I can see Wakio over there. There's Sean Shobo as well. He's also a very great voiceover actor, and also part of the founder of the Voiceover Academy in Nigeria. You have Hugh Edwards there, who's for Gravy for the Brain, which is a voiceover training platform. So anyway, you will go to that link. Jazz will put it also in the chat, and start networking from there. And also start seeing if they've put their show reels or their demos. You can go ahead and be able to listen and see, okay, what is it that makes them stand out? Jazz, you can now move on over to the section. Just go up to the About section, and there's the topics. So once you have been able to see like what it is that you're going to get from this conference, when you go to the schedule there, you'll be able to know, okay, these are the particular topics that they're going to talk about. And you can even start formulating questions that you might have around that area. So for example, we can see like on day 1, we have Leslie Olabisi, who's going to talk about how she started on the voiceover journey. So for you, maybe you can see, okay, what are some of the challenges I've gone through? How has she overcome it? How is she able maybe to work with global directors? How was her home studio set up? Those are questions that you can already start writing down, and you can always ask them if she hasn't mentioned it on her talk. So that's the whole thing of listening. The second part that I think that we should all want to fill is our networking part, because as you mentioned, it's a mix of all experts and novices and directors and everyone, producers, fellow voiceover actors from beyond, in Africa, beyond Africa will also be there. So for us, they use the reattendance platform, which also gives you the ability, yeah, you can now stop sharing. At least now we can see the different topics that are there, so that we can be able to present ourselves in the best way with our questions and what to anticipate. So in the reattendance platform that the Voice Over Africa conference uses, there are meeting rooms that will be set up for you to meet your fellow voice actors and also to meet some experts there. What you can be able to do is just treat people as human beings, you know, be excited to learn from someone else. Just, or is it Andrew had mentioned, not to be quite annoying. It's not always about you. People love talking about themselves. So, and people establish connection if you kind of like ask them questions. So you can think of it as a tennis match, you know, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Cynthia. I'm a Kenyan voiceover actor. I've been able to do a couple of voiceovers here and there. What about you? And then the other person on the other end of the line can also share. And you know, you can, if it's someone from another country, you can always talk like, hey, how are the opportunities? How's the current situation? If you meet someone who maybe is a Nigerian in the room, and I think in the VALK WhatsApp chat, we had mentioned how their industry is looking at just using their local talent. You can ask them like, hey, so how do you guys take that news? How is it usually in the industry? Blah, blah, blah. So just be able to network with other people, ask them questions. And the important thing, so that you can get out of there, at least with established connections, is always ask them, hey, are you on social media? I really want to be able to connect with you afterwards. If it's on Instagram, connect with them ASAP, because you might forget the username and or typing it out. So just connect and be like, hey, we met on the voice actors or the Voice of Africa meeting room. Hey, I thought we can just stay as connections afterwards. The other thing as well is you can always ask them, hey, do you have a demo reel or a website? You can share the link with me, and that's one way for you to be able to hear something about them, even comment about it, like, I like your style, I like your tone. And if they have a website as well, and email addresses, that's now just how you start collecting these things. The other thing is you can always speak about a session that has happened prior to the meeting room, because sometimes when you're put in those meeting rooms, there are many people, and you might feel intimidated. There is no pressure for you to interact that way if you don't feel like it, but you can always just be like, hey, what do you think about that speaker? This was a light bulb moment for me. What do you think for you? So for me, last year, I was able to connect with a couple of Nigerian voiceover artists, whom I love dearly. We've been able to establish connections past that conference into Instagram and into, like, we're now like buddies. And what really was the benefit for me and also for them is whenever there is an opportunity that has come up and it requires maybe a Kenyan accent or an East African accent, they'll always be like, Cynthia, I can connect you with Cynthia. She's on Instagram, or here's her handle, or here is her email address. And that's how we are able to make exchanges with our clients even. And even for myself, if I get a client and they're looking for an accent, a South African accent, a Nigerian accent, I'm able also to just be like, hey, I remember I met Shei, and I send over their stuff to them. The other thing as well, in terms of networking with the speakers, particularly with these experts in their workshops and those who will be the panels, is you can, nowadays everything is social. So like, for example, something like this that's happening, and there's a section that you love and you want to show that your networks that you're attending this conference, you can always just take a photo of the panel discussion or a short video, and then tweet it or put it on your stories on your LinkedIn. And then remember to tag them, because now when you tag them, they'll be able to see it afterwards, and then they'll be able to connect with you and say thank you, or be like, oh, wow, thank you so much for connecting, or better yet, they will repost it. And now you also now start getting visibility from their networks, from their platform. For an example, last year when Joanne Baker was doing that session with Jazz, and we were also in the room, and she was teaching us about script interpretation, I just took like a short video, put it on my Instagram, tagged the hell out of it. And I tagged Joanne, I tagged Jazz, I tagged Rudy, the Voice of Africa conference and everything. Now afterwards, Joanne was like, wow, thank you so much. She came to my DM, she was like, thank you so much for taking that video. I was so busy with the panel or the workshop, I was not able to take any video. Can you just send it to me?
Actually,
Or,
can I say something about that?
Yeah.
That was super cool of you, actually, to be fair. And because you know, I was too shy to reach out to Joanne myself, and then to have her tag me and we started talking, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'll Cynthia everything. So that was actually a very, very amazing thing to do, and it's a great way, I think, to connect with other people, and it's a gracious thing to do. It's a very, very abundant thing to do, and I think that was amazing. So I would encourage y'all to listen to that point.
Yes, very important if you can, because now also that kind of like put me in, you know, it's not coming to introduce myself again. It's like, oh, thank you so much. And then that's how we talked. Okay. And then she invited me they usually have like a workshop like what we are doing, but in the States, where it's monthly usually, where they're just trading insights with other voiceover artists, and I was able to also just attend it. So that's just how the power of networking will come about. So it's use the tools that you have at hand, take photos, take videos, tag them, you know, just mention them. Even though they won't be able to see it at that moment, then they'll be able to engage with you even after the fact. And it's kind of like a soft launch for you now to start talking about other things and other opportunities as well. And also, please, as I mentioned also about fellow voice actors, who are very important for you to be able to network with. As I said, there's the exchange of ideas, of knowledge of clients, which is also quite important. And also, they'll also be able to introduce you to new platforms that maybe work for them, and they can also work for you. So the third part is about growth. So we talked about the three goals. The goal for the conference is to learn, to network, and now the growth bit of it. Now how you're positioning yourself to be able to thrive, because you're now, I think, more visible, or you're learning how to be visible, and you're also learning from the industry experts the things to do. So this is kind of like something that will happen after the conference, and also sometimes during the conference. So when I talk about growth, how are you setting up yourself for success, or how are you positioning yourself for success? If it's your social networks for now, you can be able, if you want, please, it's advisable, you can go there and kind of like clean it up a bit. You can, if it's LinkedIn, if it's Instagram or Facebook, mention. If right now you don't actually mention that you're a voiceover actor, you're missing out on a bit of the algorithm of SEO that, you know, at that time from September 9th to 11th, depending on the amount of people who will be there and the type of information that will be shared, there'll be a lot of search volume because people will be posting a lot. So you also want to be like, hey, what's happening with voiceovers? You really want to be able to show up, you know, on the platform, on the various platforms. So I'm sure Instagram hashtags, or nowadays they're not even just for Instagram, hashtags in general are now like part of SEO. When I say SEO, it's just searching, how I'm searching for things. Nowadays we search that way. So you can start maybe following the hashtag VOAfrica, Voice over Africa conference, African voice actors, things like that. Those are things that people will be posting when they're putting their photos or their videos, or they're talking about the speakers. So you're already positioning yourself there by following those hashtags or using those hashtags in your content, so that now, even if you miss some rooms because maybe you were busy that day or whatever, at the end of the day, you're able to just go and follow the proceedings of what's happening using those hashtags. And it's also one way to kind of like leverage on the wave of the Voice Africa conference social media pages, because at that time they'll really want to show like, hey, people are actually attending the conference. So if you're able to attach that hashtag or link up their page, like mentioning at Voice of Africa conference, they will retweet you or they will be able to share your story. And that way you're also getting more visibility from their audience. The other thing is, if you have demos ready, one thing, or one way for you to be able to maybe mingle is, and I saw Kennedy is there. He's the head of Lotus Productions, and I'm also signed to their agency as well. And that's how we also connected with him online as well. So you see all the speakers, the screen that Jazz had shared, when you've started following them online as well, you'll also see some of them have put their email addresses there. And based on whatever workshop or whatever they talked about, you can always send like an email, be like, hey, I really liked how you taught us about maybe looking for clients, how to be able to look for global clients. And I just wanted to be able to extend courtesy and thank you, just be saying thank you for it, for the talk that you gave. And this is my demo, just in case you have maybe a project that fits my profile that's looking for a Kenyan or an African accent. I can also do South African, you talk about what you do, or a Swahili project. I just thought that, hey, let me introduce myself. Here's a link to my demo, or you attach the demo. And now if they have other projects that are coming up, they'll remember, oh, there's actually someone called, Ayuma who reached out to me. There's someone called Rosalia who reached out to me. So that's how you start positioning yourself for success. The other thing is kind of like immediately applying the things that you have learned. So there's a session with Sean, and he's going to talk about Instagram marketing. And there's one also with Dr. E, and he's going to talk about the different tools that you can use to be able to create content around your voiceover business or your voiceover service. So those are the things that you can now start implementing, and then you kind of like credit them, like, wow, thank you so much for mentioning Canva, Dr. E. I've now started putting my client reviews over here. This was due to the Africa conference, etc. And now that will kind of like bring about an avalanche of comments, interactions that now you'll start leveraging yourself on. So those are the three things, I think, the goals that have worked for me. Knowing that I'm there to learn. I don't know anything, or I don't know everything, should be kind of like the persona you come there with. Be humble, be ready to learn, be curious as well. If someone has actually, a speaker or a fellow artist has asked a question, engage also in the chat, as Andrew and Jazz had mentioned. I really also want to hear a lot from you Kenyans in the conference, because as you know, naturally, Nigerians are bold. They don't shy away. So I don't want just to hear like questions from Olua something or Shei or whoever. I also want to hear the Wairimos, be there, let your presence be felt. And I always say, this is a quote that has stuck with me, is show your work, it gets you more work. So in this context is, hey, introduce yourself. When you're asking a question, be like, hey, my name is Cynthia. I'm a voiceover actor from Kenya, and I've done a couple of narrations. So already someone is like, oh, okay, she's done something. And if you haven't done anything yet, also don't shy away. Be like, hey, I've been trying to audition or I've been trying to get clients, but it's not happening. Could you maybe share something about how I can have a leg up, you know, when I'm interacting with people? So ask questions, make meaningful comments, and I won't go back to what Andrew and Jazz had already spoken about, but that's just one way for us to learn, to be curious, and then go there with a goal to network, and don't feel too much pressure to do that, because you can always do post networking. Even if you feel you haven't gotten a lot of networks during the conference, when you put these kind of like steps in place, the pre-networking with the speakers and other fellow VO artists, following a certain hashtag so that you're positioned, and also being able to share your experiences. At the end of the day, you can actually do summaries or snippets. I can see like over here, Jazz in the chat is doing like summaries of what I'm talking about. That's one thing you can also do, and you post it on your LinkedIn or your Instagram, and you tag the person or the people that impacted you that day. They for sure, if you do that, they'll be able to comment, and if you've done the mentioning correctly, they will also be able to retarget it to their people through sharing, through commenting, reposting, and that's one way for you to be able to network. And then the growth. Is your social media ready? Your demos ready? Because it might get to a point where the person has just given you your email address and you still want to be top of mind and fresh. You can be able to send them your demo and your little proposal introducing yourself to them. And yeah, so for me, those are just a few tips that I think we can be able to implement so that we kind of get our money's worth and our networking worth out of this conference. So yeah, if you have any questions or anything you need to add, please feel free to put it in the chat, or you can also just unmute yourself and speak, I guess. Andrew, I hope I haven't gone
Yes,
over.
my name is Andrew Opere. I'm a voiceover artist from Kenya. And I just want to appreciate the comment that you made, Cynthia Kimola, positioning yourself to thrive. I think that is the base theme that encompasses everything that I need to do. And I'll highly sit down after this is over to go ahead and get all the email addresses and reach out to, prepare myself to reach out to the speakers and see who would probably be a good fit for me. And apart from me sharing, I'm going to have this interactive. So I'll go ahead and invite our esteemed governor of the 49th county. Please share your comment or question. Unmute yourself and let's see on video, please.
Oh my God. Okay, let me just, because I've been listening to this on the road. Let me just pull over. Hi, everybody.
Hello, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Oh, Cynthia, that was it's so timely. And it's so timely because we are getting into the conference. And most of the times when people get into the conference, they really don't know what to do or how to harvest from that conference. And I think how you've guided us on how we position ourselves and how we can tap into the different networks that we will be exposed to is really, really crucial for us to understand. And we are in a global space. And the beauty about our job is that we don't have to be locked down in a region. We don't have to be locked down in a certain space, that we are so fluid. We can do anything anywhere. And so these interactions are very important because working with someone in New York is a possibility. It's not that far anymore. You don't have to travel. So all these producers that we see should not intimidate you at all. Do not feel timid, do not feel small. As I've written in my chat, your voice is unique, and what you're going to bring to the table is not what Wakio can bring to the table. And so be proud of it and flaunt it, showcase it. someone just told me recently, I've not been active on social media for a while. And I just got somebody to be helping me with my social media page. And she was telling me she had this questionnaire of things that I do, and she wanted to learn more about what I do. And she told me, my God, Wakio, you don't play yourself. You don't tell people what you're doing. And it's not boasting, it's not bragging. It's just presenting yourself and your skills and your craft and what you're capable of doing. So don't feel timid, don't feel intimidated by CVs, don't be intimidated by projects that people have done and clients that they have had. Be proud of the little or the much that you have done and just showcase it. So yeah, I'm really happy about this preparation towards the conference, because then we'll be able to gain from it much more than we would have without the preparation. Thank you so much, Cynthia. That was well articulated, and I'm so proud to be a Valkyrian right now.
Yay! And please, she has a session. Please do not miss it.
Yes,
on how to,
yes, Akio, what's your session?
You're on mute, baby girl. You're on mute, baby girl.
Oh yeah, we were supposed to talk about ourselves and what we're doing. Oh my God. So yes, I do have a session on nafasi ya Kiswahili katika biashara ya sauti, and I will be speaking largely in Kiswahili, but yes, because I know that there are people who will be interested in the session and they're probably not Swahili speakers, so we'll have a little bit of English. We're doing it together with Mwaruma, who is one of us as well. But basically, should I tell you what we'll be doing? No, you might just not decide to join. You better join.
Remind us the time and the day then. And the teaser.
And the teaser. Nitawatumia linki pale kwa group, utawatumia teaser because we want to do a little short video of what Swahili voices sound like, so that guys can get a gist of the musicality and the rhythm of the language. And then we can start on the session. And we might just not, because voiceover practices cut across the different languages, but in Swahili generally, I think as Africans, we need to understand the weight of the languages that we speak, because they carry much more than communication. And so that's one of the things that I would like people to understand in terms of the relevance of the language and how it has grown, and kudunishwa kwake na watu tofauti tofauti, na kwa nini ni muhimu sana tuendeleze lugha hii, na nafasi ambayo tunaweza ichukua kama wasanii wa lugha ya Kiswahili Afrika Mashariki, na pia secondary speakers ambao wako nje ya Afrika Mashariki.
Wow, asante sana kwa haya maneno. Wakio Mzenge, a very phenomenal actress who currently, apart from being one of the panelists at the VOAfrica, she is currently acting as the governor of County 49 series, currently showing on Netflix. So catch her. It's very easy for her to say.
Showmax,
sorry, Showmax. I apologize. Thank you for the correction.
Yeah.
So it's very easy for someone to say, do not be...
Is it okay if I talk? Yeah,
tumekubali mheshimiwa. So yes, as you can see, she has the authority to say, do not be intimidated because she's doing international stuff. But but anyway, I hope you've gotten a value from that. That was a very powerful session. And yes, now I think we are now moving on to the third topic, which is how to network. Well, I believe that that Cynthia did highlight a lot of points from that. But do you have anything that you've not mentioned to cover the topic of how to network?
No, I think I've covered that. It's just also, let's network amongst ourselves. Let's follow each other, because if Andrew, you post something, I'm able to post something, at least you'll be top of mind and we'll be able to share the circle of our networks, you know, on and on and on and on. So for networking, it's just us being human. People usually try and make it such a big deal and intimidating, but it's just how to be human, you know, be kind, be curious about someone, you know, smile, compliment someone, and just don't be too annoying, because you know how you accept things like on LinkedIn and then someone is already pitching to you instantly. You're like, oh my God, I don't even know who you are. So just start slowly, start now interacting with their posts if you're going to do that, you know, just slowly so that you can start appearing. I'm not telling you to be a stalker, but just low key.
A polite stalker. A stalker with manners.
With manners, okay?
Yes. In fact, I'm glad you point that out, because that's an area I'm sure I know I personally have failed in that, and uh, others have failed, where you meet with someone and you pitch directly. So yes, interact with someone first until you see the opportunity present itself. You know, they might probably ask and say, okay, yes, I do have an opportunity. And yes, I'd like one more person just to comment on what they've gotten from your session so far before we step into how to prepare. Well, because we've had uh, our gracious governor speak, I'd like to invite one more person, Remy.
We also have Wanjiko who's got her
also
hand
has
up. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yes, Wanjiko, please go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I am Wanjiko Merigi. I don't even know how to sit because of the lights, but I need to be seen and noticed.
Face to the window, yes, like that.
Yeah. I am Wanjiko Merigi. Thank you so much for organizing this, everyone. And thank you so much, Cynthia. One thing I have learned is that we all get, forgive this boy who's trying to join the call, is that everyone feels intimidated at some point. And for me, as I'm beginning, that is something that I've struggled with so much. So yes, I will put myself out there and let me be known and be seen. So again, I am Wanjiko Murigi. Please do not forget this face or this sound. Thank you.
You're welcome. And also just a quick point, because that's the other thing also, if someone is just starting out, we did not have this. I did not have things like this when I was starting out. I didn't have like networks or networks that I relate with. It was always like people abroad, and then they're talking about things you're like, I don't even relate. I don't even understand what you're talking about. So there's also the beauty in you sharing like, hey, I'm Wanjiku. I'm an aspiring voiceover actor. I'm actually maybe currently with a full-time job, but I'm actively pursuing this and that. You know, those are questions that you can ask as well, also with the speakers, or Bolasi when she's also talking about how she's starting out. Because we always remember how we started out our journeys, and looking back in retrospect, there are always things that you can do better. So also that's one way for you to be able to glean from these speakers and their expertise, because they'll be like, you know what, I usually used to think that first of all I should buy this mic or I should do this. Maybe what are the certain things that I should actually take to start positioning me to get jobs or positioning me to win auditions. So there is no shame. Do not feel like this is not for you, or because you're still starting early. No, because this is the perfect place for you to be, and just say so, and people will be able to help out as well.
Wow, thank you for that power tip, Cynthia. And since you're sharing power tips, allow me to share a power tip of my own. A lot of people, when they speak, whether it's on camera or to people, they take for granted the power of words. So when Jiko, next time you speak, everything you said was perfect, except one thing, in my opinion, which is you said, don't forget this face. That when you're giving me the command to forget, instead of don't forget, use remember this face. Don't forget and remember. People make that mistake. Don't forget to subscribe. People will not subscribe. Remember to subscribe. It is a very affirmative, positive word rather than a negative word. Do not do this. So that is a tip for all of you who are in communication when you're speaking online or offline. Remember to use the right words. And let's go to the next section so that we can have enough time for questions and answers because I see this is action packed. And the next topic is how to prepare. So I'm sure that because Cynthia has gotten the results she's gotten, we are curious to find out how have you prepared? And even throughout this presentation, you have presented particular tips like going ahead and looking at the roster of speakers, look at their email, look at what they're going to speak about, and just shoot them a quick email. Looking forward to your preparation. You even mentioned how you networked with the Nigerians after and hence helping you get jobs. So apart from those tips, what else would you recommend apart from what you've shared on how to prepare to market yourself and the marketing material you need ready?
Yes, I can see Remy had his hand up. So do we let him or I just continue?
Okay, let's let Remy speak and
Maybe,
then you
yeah,
take it
maybe he's
over.
gonna sip into.
All the way from Nigeria, who is
Hi,
influencing
Remy.
the voice of a market. Welcome, Remy. Oh, God, how you doing?
Hi. I do okay. I do all right. As you can
Okay.
see, I set the camera up because you can get the sense of a halo. I'm the one taking care of the children today. My wife has gone out, so it's me playing daddy mommy. I wanted to say that I think this session has been fantastic so far. And oh yes, it's true. Nigerians are very, come out chest first. So here's my proposal that maybe we can set up a session where I'll teach you to be more Nigerian. Let people just, in your face, I say, yes, I'm here, deal with it. Yes, I'm the best at what I do. This is what I have done. This is where I'm going. Like, are you coming along for the ride or are you going for somebody else? Go for somebody else. I'm already on my own road. I am on my own road. So I don't need you. But all joking aside, hey, you cannot buy anything you break here. Sorry, he's 2 years old and doesn't really, he pretends to not to understand English when he speaks. I want to thank you. I also want to thank you for actually having this session because believe it or not, this is an African thing. It's not just the case of just Kenya. This is an African thing. And the beautiful thing about it for me is that of the 14 of us who are here, the ideas and the message of this session is going to have a multiplier effect. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. Thanks so much, bro.
Thanks, Remy. Nice to finally see you. So Andrew, I think I had actually, in terms of the marketing type of material, free tools that you can start using. For example, now Canva, you can be able to use it to actually maybe put your demos in there. There's a way you can be able to put your audio in it and also just be like, hey, you put your name like Cynthia Kimola, African voiceover artist or East African voiceover artist or Kenyan voiceover artist, and then Swahili, and then you'll be like, hey, this is a commercial demo. So slowly now, we are tapping into that visibility we talked about, right? The wave. And yeah, good. Jazz is here. Jazz, by the way, one time we need a session because you do beautiful designs with Canva for VALK. And I think it would be a great way to kind of like teach us all how to be able to use it, because people are intimidated, but there's some templates that can be used. So right, yeah, you can go, yeah, like that.
I really love to use this site. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, we'll definitely do a session on Canva.
Yes.
And also there, just to add on to, the free kind of websites that you can use. You can also go to, because you've got a wonderful website happening for you. And, trying to create your own website in a couple of days is really difficult. However, what you can do is you can go to Google site. It's if you just Google I don't know if I can share it with you. Oh, could you see it? Oh, did I?
No, I was looking at the girl there, the voiceover artist. They're called Jazz Mystery.
That's the one. I was messing around with it just to see if it was possible to share something with you. So if you go to sites at google.com, this is a very, very easy thing that you can just slap on. They have content blocks that you can just put together. It's very, very easy to set up a mini website for this conference, where it's very easy to just put a little bit of a itty bitty portfolio, because that's what you want. You want to have something that someone can easily go to. So so it's called, I'll put the link up. It's just a site, Google Sites. You can use that in the meantime before you develop your own website. So things like Canva, Google Site, there's so many things that you can even open up your YouTube, put your demos there, so that when someone is asking you, and it's a great marketing tool and a networking tool to show what you have without saying what you have. There's a difference between talking about a big game and just showing. It's just show, don't tell, I think, is the easiest way to go about this. That way you listen more instead of talking a lot. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And just a brief recap of what we previously covered for those just joining us right now, before Cynthia takes us to topic 4 of how to prepare to market yourself. Today is VALK Talks, and we are covering marketing yourself in preparation for the VOAfrica conference, VOAfrica conference, which is happening on the 9th to 11th of September, so that you can take full advantage of the opportunity of meeting voiceover actors and stakeholders from all over the world for these 3 days. So the 3 topics for today is that we have been discussing are: 1, how to engage during a workshop. The second one has been how to introduce yourself. The third one is how to network offline and offline. And now we're currently discussing our 4th topic on how to prepare. Now we are currently recording this presentation. So at the end, we're going to go ahead and upload it on the VALK Facebook group, so that you can go ahead and watch it again to capture all the beautiful tips, beautiful actionable tips from our very own Cynthia Kimola, internationally recognized voiceover artist, because she has been marketing herself, and thus we thought she'd be the best person to invite to show us how to market yourself. Because if you're to Google East African or Kenyan voiceover talent, she is number 1 that comes up. So, Cynthia, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. Yes, I've actually mentioned these things before, but just to be able to cover these things again. As we said, LinkedIn is something that is powerful, that you can be able to capitalize on. So you can go about there and follow the speakers, follow the people that are going to be able to have workshops. You can have like a wish list, I really, like, for me, let me tell you who the people I want to talk to this time. I'm opening my site here. So there's Mark Grow. He's also a demo producer, and he's in South Africa. So most of the people know that, all the multinationals, that, the L'Oreals, all the people who produce Colgate, Omo, etc., they're based in South Africa. That's their international base. And therefore, they actually use South African agencies, audio companies to produce for them. For example, last week, was it? Yeah. Last week, I did like a TV ad with a producer who's in South Africa for an ad in Kenya. So they're not casting in Kenya directly. They're now casting through their networks. So you can still be able to be like top of mind, be like, hey, I'm looking for a Swahili speaker. Then you'll be like, oh, there was this lady who introduced herself at the conference. Her name was Wakio. Okay, we can ask her. And you have also on your social media, you have prepared it. We have your contact information. If you've made like a Canva post, you've put your demo in there that they can quickly share. Because nowadays people don't have to get like a demo per se, but if you already put it on your Instagram, just look at it as a portfolio, you know, so that someone can quickly search for you and hear and be like, okay, I want to work with them. Then the other person that you guys really need to be able to connect with is Jimmy. Just go up, Jazz. Jimmy of Lotus Productions. I'm signed up to his agency, so he offers usually good work. They're really lovely people. They're based in New York. The other person that I think everyone is good to connect with. I don't mean that these are the people that you should generally go to, but now going through my thinking process, how I usually have my wish list, and now you can look through and be able to see who you want to connect with. Leslie as well, Olabisi, she actually won, you know, different awards, and she's also very visible out there. So look at the people you want to connect with. Why do you want to connect with them? And be able now to start following up on with them online. Nadim is also good for Gravy for the Brain. So everyone in general, the curation of the speakers this year are fantastic. And also, as I said, don't overlook people. Treat people as people and human connections. And then after now, we have been able to ensure that we have done like a sift through of our social. We'll be like, hey, is my number there? Okay. Is my email address there? Okay. Have I linked to my portfolio? Is it a website? Is it a SoundCloud link for my demos? You know, wherever you're housing, is it a YouTube link? Put it there so that when someone is connecting, people now are programmed to be able to just tap to links. It's something that we do. So you want to just be able to showcase already what you've done. And if they want to contact you, that's how they go about it. Then the other thing, as I mentioned, is you connecting within the rooms. So you're marketing yourself there, introduce yourself, what you do, the type of voice jobs that you have done, or maybe the ones that you are looking to do. Or if you're just getting started, you'll be like, you know what, I really love e-learning projects. There's a lady here who will be doing audiobooks. If audiobooks are the way to go, I know Jenny and I have been trying to discuss, we want to venture into audiobooks. Then we are like, it's kazi nyingi, but do we still do it? You know, we still want to ensure that the African voices are represented in African books. So those are questions that you can ask the speakers. Just try and get whatever you're getting and try and see, how can I apply it to my context? And be like, okay, you're doing audiobooks. How do you get in touch with producers? How different is a demo for an audiobook and a demo for an e-learning project? And she'll be able to answer those questions. And also, you can also ask them like, hey, I want to be on a roster. I want to be presented. How am I supposed to go through it? So depending on the speakers that are there, target your questions so that you can be able to kind of get value from them. So we said we're not going to be flies on the wall during this conference. We're going to comment during the actual speaking sessions, during the workshops, and in the meeting rooms. Because remember, show your work, you get more work. Get known, you're able to be memorable. The word is memorable, remember. And then there is also the after networking, the after conference networking that you will be able to do. Then the other thing, as I mentioned, which I think is crucial, nowadays video really moves. So you can also just take your phone after or during the event or after a speaker has spoken and just record yourself like, you know what, I'm actually at the VOAfrica conference and I was listening to Akio and she's talking about how Kiswahili is actually, you know, breaking bounds. Like it's not just East Africans who are being sought after, but now casting sites are looking for people in Congo, you know, just things like summarize what you has stood out for you, just the way we are doing here with the comments that we're making with the learnings that we are doing. And you can post it also on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. And that way, when someone is now searching, like, hey, what happened in the voiceover conference last year? Your videos kind of show up, or if they're looking for a voiceover artist in Africa, because of the SEO and how you've put your captions and you've tagged the different people or the voiceover Africa conference people as well, you're able to show up. So this is just for you. As I said, the three pillars, even in the marketing, it's you learning, growing, and networking. So through that, how am I able to showcase my work and my voice? Because also the other thing is we are voiceover actors, so our voice is kind of like what we need to use um, to ensure that people hear us, you know? So it's not always just Canva with the photos only. You can also do Canva, you can do videos and then go now and beautify it on Canva if you want. But nowadays people are raw. The way TikTok is, you're just in your bedroom, you're recording something about what you have learned, what stood out, this speaker, how they approach the workshop, the helpful tips that you have gotten, and now you translate it online.
Wow, wow, very powerful stuff, Cynthia Kimola. And I love how you've added that additional thing of adding video, recording yourself, because that's just an extension of the comments, making sure it's seen by actually a wider audience. And wow, so just to summarize this whole session, or rather my attempt to summarize this session, some of the principles to remember is first to shift your mindset by focusing on how networking is good for your career. You need to be seen in order to get jobs. Be memorable. Second tip is when choosing which sessions to attend, consider whether you learn something or meet someone new. So always keep your eyes open for what you want to get out of that session. The third is take initiative to create networking situations where you feel comfortable. So, for those of you who identify as introverts, this is a very huge point for you. In other words, finding out how you can network in a way that you feel comfortable. And the fourth do principle is prepare marketing material to share with others. The reality is, this is a human interaction. Marketing is just a conversation, letting people know I am here, this is what I do. This is a possibility to collaborate. And out of the things that you've been shared, that the things that you need to do, there are also some things to watch out for to do not do. So, number one is don't stalk people online. Be respectful and mindful when approaching others. Remember, don't pitch immediately when you get in touch with someone. So, be mindful of that. Second, do not spend all your time talking about yourself. Listen more, talk less. And I think we mentioned this, don't ramble. Remember, there's so many people in the conference. Think about what you want to say, be short and precise. You see, if you've been paying keen attention, Cynthia gave us a template. My name, I'm a Kenyan voiceover artist. This is the comment I'm responding to, or this is the question I'm responding to. Could you give me clarity about this? Thank you very much. I'll take it in the chat or take it offline. Or is it okay if I can email you for more? The third point, burnout. Give yourself time to rest and recuperate during the conference. Take breaks if you need to. And the lastly, try to be someone you are not. Do not do that. Putting a false persona is stressful and tiring because once you get tired, you're going to break character. So, because if someone believes you for what you present and then they hire you for that job and you're tired of that persona, then there's going to be a conflict there. So these are the summary of the do's and don'ts. But to get a full flavor of all of the wisdom that Cynthia shared, please go ahead and rewatch this. You will find it on the Facebook group of VALK, that is Voice Actors League of Kenya. And our presenter today has been Cynthia Kimola, the #1 voiceover artist who appears when you search Kenyan voiceover talent on Google. And we also have our #2 in the room, Michelle Ayuma, And I'm not just saying this. I've heard this from people who are just like voiceover amateurs, enthusiasts saying, oh yeah, I'm interested. When I Googled, this is who came up. So I know their name. So we have a couple of announcements. And before the announcements, I'm going to let two people just mention a quick question or comment. If you have any questions about this that cannot be addressed now, please go ahead and put them in the chat. And we're not joking. I believe we're going to have another session with Cynthia and Jazz, how to spice up your marketing materials visually with Canva, and how to be confident like a Naija with Remy. Yeah? We are here in the room. I'm the best. Yeah. So please, two people, volunteer yourselves. If you don't volunteer yourselves, I'll go ahead and call you out. But the first person I want to hear is, oh, okay, Remy has his hand up. Go ahead, Remy.
And Ayuma put a question, I'll answer.
Yes.
After.
Remy, unmute yourself. Let us see you.
Okay, hi, yeah, hi. All right, so my question is tied towards the after conference. As in, based on everything you said so far, right, it's clear to me that I'm so sorry. He's looking for my attention, and my arms are tired. As in, I wasn't designed. I'm doing my best. So the thing is, everything that we're doing is geared towards the post-conference life. You know, pretty much the after. So I'm curious, what kind of advice would you give in terms of what to keep in mind? Because I believe that if you have those things, if you have that understanding in mind, right, it is literally going to guard and guide your actions in terms of how you interact, what you're going to do. It's not just a case of the conference is now, I'm doing this now in the conference, then when the conference is over, I kind of switch off. What kind of mentality would you suggest to maintain throughout the conference and after the conference? That will just keep everything streamlined.
Okay. Great. I'll also tie it in. There's a question Ayuma had put here about, because it ties in with Remy's as well. She was asking in 3 bits, maybe what was one thing, since I attended the first VO conference last year, what's one thing I wish I did? What's one thing I was proud I did? And what is one thing I wish I didn't do?
Wow, powerful questions.
Yes. So no, it's all right. Because these are very good reflective questions as well, you know. So for me, it was the first I remember clearly, it was on a Saturday. I was like, hey, I'm in the house the whole day because of our conference. Because for me that time, I was like always going out hiking, you know. If you look at my Instagram during that year, I was just going out hiking, just exploring Kenya. And then I was like, this Saturday I'm indoors. Why? Because I really, really want to be able to learn what industry players are doing in the industry and how it's being packaged in a workshop. So for me, clearly, it was all about networking. I wanted to be in the radar of particular people, and I was able to accomplish that. I really wanted to be able to network with the Silver's crew, of the duo of Rudy and Joanne, and I was able to do that. So one thing that I wish, okay, so what happened? Let me say the thing that I was proud of is the people I had targeted to network with. I was able to network with them and actually also continue that relationship because, you know, I attended the workshops and the speaking things they were talking about, even though I wasn't commenting at that time. So for me, one thing I wish I did at that time was commenting in the general, like plenary type of sessions. And the one-on-one thing and the workshops, I was fine. We were there with skills and jazz, and we were really talking and we were really learning. So the other thing is also just that visibility during the online thing. You'll see that it's broken down into different sessions. So the plenaries, that where everyone is there or they're talking or if there are any questions to be asked. One thing I think I wish I did more then was to be able to be visible, to comment. So everything I'm telling you is also the things that I want to implement this time around. One thing I wish that I didn't do, I don't know. I haven't gotten that far, but one thing I wish I did more of was summarizing like the sessions, the things that I've learned. I always have like a notebook with me. It's full of stuff. So I wrote them down on paper and was implementing them, but also just thinking of the wider people, and also just for remembrance of like, oh, for my first conference, these are the things that I learned about. So just kind of like documenting it. If you do it as a blog, if you do it as a video, whatever, that's one thing that you can do to help yourself to remember and to help others also who are starting out on the journey. So about the post-conference now, Remy, what you're talking about, it still ties into those 3 pillars. It still goes back to that. So for example, if maybe there's a session that's about identify or how to be cast in global opportunities, or there's one that Hugh Edwards will do about gaming and video games and animation. That's a big area and people are really casting so much. So if he's shared something about that, then you can go post-conference wise, if you have his email or on LinkedIn and you write him a message, you can have a follow-up question, be like, hey, Hugh, I attended your session during the Voice of Africa conference, and you really mentioned one point about being cast in video games. So for example, when I receive, they call them sides. When I receive the sides, and a side will always have a summary of the character, a picture of the character, and a few lines. So it'd be like, okay, am I able maybe to offer 2 takes of it? Should I read it with my own voice? Should I embody a character? So it's meaningful questions that will keep the conversation going. We are playing tennis, remember? In tennis, the ball always has to come back. If it doesn't come back, the match, stops. So you don't want to just be throwing your balls into the ether. Remember that this analogy during conversations, we're playing tennis. Hi, I remember during this thing, could you let me know maybe more about it or what I should do when interpreting sides? And he will answer. But if you don't give open questions and you're just stating facts and things like that, they wouldn't have anything to work with. The other post-conference tip is just you, as I mentioned, implementing the things that you have learned and crediting it to them. So now maybe you have learned how to interpret a script with this tip that Joanne mentioned about commercial TV scripts. And you'll be like, you know what? Joanne actually had mentioned, and you can even do a video, be like, you know what, today I was auditioning for a commercial TV project. And I remember during the voiceover conference, Joanne mentioned that, you know what, to sound conversational, think as if you're talking to your person. So for me, the person in my mind was my mother. And that actually just changed the whole demeanor. And I was able to, just be conversational during that thing. So thanks so much, Joanne. I'm sure when Joanne sees that thing and you have mentioned her or tagged her in that post, she'll comment and she will also be able to reshare it if you've also posted it on stories or also on LinkedIn. So remember, you're not just tapping into this person, you're tapping into the networks that are connected with them. Because when they share, the algorithm does its thing. When they share, when you mention them, on LinkedIn especially, the people who are connected to them are able to see it. And yeah, just go about and be human, as I said.
Can I just jump in on that?
Yes.
I think that's such a great point. It's such a refreshing take on how to create content from something that you've already through your own experiences. But I think one thing I just wanted to mention is that is the authenticity with which you do these things, because I feel like people can tell when you're just tagging for the sake of tagging. Like, it has to really come from the heart. So it's not one of those things whereby you're tagging it just for the sake of getting likes and trying to get someone to respond to your content, or to, you can tell that a fake connection between a real one. So, and I think that's something that you do very, very well, that I think needs to be pointed out. It really needs to come from you and not something that you're doing as a tip and trick. It has to be something that you kind of add into your strategy as a human being. I think that's quite important, so that you don't come off looking as fake and just again, like a stalker. Yeah.
Stalker.
How not to look like a
Typing,
stalker.
yeah.
Be genuine.
Jenny has actually put the question, which I think is very pertinent. She's like,
yes, in fact,
someone
Cynthia,
else.
yes, yes. So in fact, I wanted, yes, to frame it this way. You talked about playing tennis. So
Yeah.
what happens to you as a voiceover artist when someone wants to play tennis with you and you do not want to play tennis with them? You had no intention of playing tennis. An unwanted partner, male, yes, they approach you, you know, they DM you during this voiceover workshop and say, hey, what's up, Cynthia? What's up? You know, you're looking good. You know, them glasses. I love girls in glasses. What's up? What's going on? So I'm sure that a lot of females have experienced this, and I'm just wondering, how do you navigate that challenge?
Yeah. I think also just, oh God, what happens is, you know, when you're fishing, sometimes you get fish and sometimes you get unwanted things. So what you just do is, you know, sift through. So for example, I don't think I've gotten to that point where like I'm just, people I think on my page just keep it professional, thank God. I haven't gotten like unwanted, yes, here and there, but I'm like, even someone was telling me, hey Cynthia, okay, answer easy DM sometimes, very, because I'm always like, hey, thanks for reaching out, how can I help you? So it's always like, oh, in their mode of hey, Apa, these attempts that I was trying maybe to steer her away or to just unsolicited comments are not going to work. So in terms of unwanted, I can't see that I've gotten to it. I think it's also just how I present myself online. I have not been able to, or when they do come, I just chap at them with the whole, hey, how can I assist you? Blah, blah, blah. And there's a way I've automated some responses. So if you just type in the name, like for me, I used to do scholarship videos as well. So if you put like a Shivning scholarship or something in the messaging you're putting, there's an automated message on Instagram that will be like, hey, thanks for reaching out to me. If you're looking for videos, there's this, there's that. So at least it's done the first point of contact for me. And then now when I come and they have any follow-up questions, I'll be like, hey, let's answer it. And then also just being able to know that certain social sites kind of do the sifting for you. You know, there's the other messages, there's the requests, and there's whatever. So it's just like your spam folder. So some of them I'm not able to see. It's just like when I'm sifting through and seeing what I'm able to answer, I can be like, okay, delete. So that's not something that should still make you shy away from putting yourself out there. The other question I think, which is kind of like more relevant to what you were talking about with tennis is, and Jenny put it on the, oh yeah, it's for me and Jenny. I don't know where it's from though, Jazz. She just posted it. What's the best way?
Yeah, in fact, yeah, that's true, because now what happens, I apply all of these tools and techniques you're telling me. You know, I reach out to Cynthia Kimola, you know, you're very enthusiastic during the conference, but when the conference is over, you just go ghosting on me, you know? So like, what factors can we consider when approaching speakers, or how, is there anything that you've been able to achieve for someone who has ghosted you, who you reached out to, and, you know, how do you navigate that?
Yeah, one thing to remember is life happens to all of us. Life happens to all of us. That means work comes in the way. So you can send a message, but someone is working, they can't see. You can send a message, someone has gone, like my friend is now going like on a social media break. They won't necessarily tell the whole world they're going on a break, but you'll be like, she's not online. Like I haven't been posting things so much because I'm also just going through something that I'm trying to handle. So I'm like, that's not one area of focus right now. So it's also for you to remember. And the other thing that also just humbles you is also just to remember these people are human. There are also times me, I'm tired. I don't want to answer messages all the time. I don't like time zones. Remember, time zone is an issue because you're now a global voiceover actor. You're in Kenya, and right now, for me, it's what time? I'm here in Texas visiting family. It's 9:30 a.m. my time. In your time, it's like 5 p.m. Maybe this time I'm in a meeting. I'm in a recording session. I'm directing a session. I can't be able to reply at the speed of which I want to reply. Also remember, as I mentioned, algorithms kind of like sift you through stuff. So it can appear in the other messages. The person hasn't seen it at all, or they have seen it, but they will answer you later. So just remember that, and don't feel like your attempts to reach out are anything directed to you as a person. So remove yourself from it. They have rejected me. They have not answered. No. If you do that, especially also as voice actors, that's why we tell ourselves audition and forget. Audition and forget. Because if you kind of like remind yourself all the time, you'll be like, hey, these people are not picking me. So it's the same as that. When you identify the speaker, you've already connected with them, known what angle maybe you want to connect with them. You've done the initial of like, hey, whatever feedback you're gonna give. I don't know what you're gonna talk about. And then you also just give them time. And then you can do a follow-up maybe after a week and be like, hey, I was just trying to check if Rosalia, I know. Rosalia is like, I emailed you a while back and you responded. Thank you. I'm also super glad. Thanks. So there are times also, you see, this is positive. Someone will be like, me, I emailed her. She doesn't respond. I haven't seen it maybe. So you also do follow-ups in a polite way. So I always say after 3 follow-ups, please consider that a tennis match that is not, you're not going to play that game. Just leave it. Wow. So if you do the post-conference follow-up, 1, they'll respond or they won't respond. And then you're still now interacting with them in different ways. If they're posting, you're also commenting, posting and things like that. You're leaving meaningful comments. And then they will be remember, oh, this is someone who had actually emailed me. Or you'll be like, hey, by the way, I actually emailed you, or I texted you, or I DM'd you. Like last week, maybe you didn't see it. There's a question I'd asked, maybe you can reply. And then they will be able maybe to reply. That's 2, right? The second follow-up. And then you give it like a week or 2 weeks, or if it's via cold email, you give it maybe as long as a month, because this is the 3rd attempt and we don't want to be a stalker. And then now you come in and be like, okay, I'm just wondering if you've been able to see it. Then after that, shut it down. Shut it down, because you don't want to be like red flagged or blackmailed. Not blackmailed. Whitelisted is the name. So yeah, just remember, like, life happens to people. People are not working on your time. They're not even supposed even to answer when you want them to answer. Just remember that. And then remember that when they don't answer, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean they're rejecting you. People are going through things, maybe someone doesn't even want to deal with that right now. They can deal with that later when they can. But just know you have cast your seeds. I always talk about casting your seed. And last year for me, I always have themes for my life. So last year, my theme is ni kujituma, jitume. So at least you actually put in that first attempt. And know also leverage on other voice actors as well. So you might see that I am connected to Jim, as I said, for Lotus Productions already. And then you can be like, hey, Cynthia, so you make an intro. I go tell Jim that I also want to be introduced. People actually respond or make it easier if they're introduced to someone they already know and someone who's already vetted. So it'd be like, hey, Jim, my name is Cynthia. I thought I can introduce you to Jazz. She's also a Kenyan actor, but she also can be able to do British English. Jazz, I'm plugging you, British English. So in case you have projects that fit that profile, she's the one for you.
I'm here, I'm ready. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Do you know what I mean? Like, thank you so much.
Yeah, so you can, and that's how I've been able to get most of my work through Instagram that way, because I'm also connected to other voice artists, which you will also do. And then through that, when you're checking in on them, always check up on people. Be like, hey, Jazz, how's it going? Any jobs? When I reach out to you on WhatsApp, like, how are you doing? How's the journey? Da, da, da. And then be like, it's good, but the work is kidogo. And then I'll be like, have you heard of Andrew? He's casting people, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, okay. And then whatever, you will send the screenshot or whoever, or make the introduction. So it's just a loop. Even if someone doesn't respond, maybe you might find someone in their network who can kind of like give you the way in. possible.
Wow, wow. Very, very powerful session by Cynthia Kimola, Kenya's premier #1 searchable voiceover talent on in Kenya and beyond. So
Oh,
I
sorry,
think this,
Andrew.
yes.
Sorry. There's a question. Sorry, I had mentioned the time zone factor. So someone is asking, different seasons affect the West quite a lot. Summer, they're away, which is true. Over summer, June, July, August, work from the West was kidogo because people are out enjoying the sun and everything. So also just to remember that. And also when you're using Time B, it's a website, it's a converter, time converter. So you just go to Time B and then you'll be like, okay, what time is it now in US? Can I send an email? And the other thing people don't know, maybe just a tip as well, what I do, when I dedicate time to send emails, on Gmail, you can schedule the time to send. So you, in the Kenyan time, you can just do the legwork and then you let technology send it at the appropriate time. So once you have gathered what time they're working with, you know, you want it to maybe appear on a morning, on a Tuesday when they get to work by 10 a.m. or whatever, just schedule that on your Gmail. It's just up with the send button and then you click on the drop down and then you'll see schedule send, then send it at that time. And then the other tip is it's always good to send emails on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Please, no emails on a Friday mostly because people have checked out. Even you've checked out from work. You don't want anything to do with things like that. And remember, even if you send it on a Friday, there are people who will also send emails and your email will be buried down the list. So on Monday, when they come back, they're catching up on work. They're not even thinking about answering emails. And then now on Tuesday, when you send it, at least they're already on work mode. They've already shared out that bad relationship we have with Mondays. So at least they're, hey, I'll be able to answer that. So just consider the timing. Remember, you can use technology and that Gmail tip that I've given you to be able to coordinate with the time. And someone is asking, do you have a dedicated social media schedule to check in to sites? Do you have an assistant? No, currently I don't have. I'm really looking into having a virtual assistant. There's a couple of my voiceover friends who have voiceover virtual assistants. So maybe if you're a virtual assistant and you are in the VALK network, we can be able to find a way around that. But I'm in contact with someone to be able to help me out through some things. This is also kind of a bit of what we are going to talk about in October. But for social media schedule, I used to have a schedule, but right now, as I said, I told Jenny that I'm now living my First Thessalonians life, which is put your head down, lead a quiet life, mind your business. So that's what I've been doing and kind of not focusing a lot on social media, but on the ground, I'm keyboard typing, baby. I'm like, cha, 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 cha. I'm just being able to network in that way. But now when I'm out of the funk that I'm on or whatever, there are things that I'm doing in the background. Then of course the social media schedule will help you with your marketing and also help in the post conference. So you'll be like, okay, today I want to put maybe some 5 things I learned from the voiceover conference that will help you. This is one thing that you're gonna post maybe on Monday. Then on Tuesday, you'll be like, okay, I'm actually doing a video talking about a tip that I learned. You can do that on a Tuesday. Then on a Thursday, you're just mixing it up. You put your demo here and there so that you're always showing up on the feed. And other than just you be like, hey, pick me, I'm a voiceover artist. Listen to me, listen to me. You're also kind of like sharing value with other people who are also following you and also knowing who you're targeting. Some people are targeting other voiceover artists. Some people are targeting clients. Some people are targeting particular clients, you know. Some people want to be in the audiobook space, so you can record videos of you reading a page or 2. So those are things that actually work. And in terms of content, yes, Ayuma has mentioned content pillars always help with social media marketing. Start with 3 a week, then stay consistent. Very true. Very, very true. So Andrew, I think I'm done.
Wow, very powerful presentation, Cynthia Kimola, Kenya's premier voiceover artist according to Google because she has been marketing herself well. And yes, so let us start applying. My request is let us start applying the principles she has mentioned. So each and every single one of you, I would request if you could just shoot in the chat one thing, one takeaway that you got from this conversation with Cynthia. And even to take it further, feel free to share that comment on our Facebook group, in the VALK group, or even on social media, on our social media handles. And um, right now, I'd like to invite the president, Madame Excellency herself of VOG, to just give us a few closing remarks. Just with she'll be giving us the final announcements and giving us the final instructions before we sign off today. This has been a very awesome session. Thank you very much, Cynthia Kimola, teaching us all the way from Texas. Sorry for waking you up very early in the morning, but we are gracious for you being human and impacting our lives. Yes, Madam. Thank you. Yes, Madam Excellency.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much. Cynthia, that was beyond my expectations. Very, very well articulated. And a lot of work to do. Thank you. So as we close, I want to encourage everyone to put into practice what Cynthia has said. Use the Voice Actors League site as well. Put some comments in there. Showcase for those who couldn't make it as well. Just mention the 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 things that you've learned today, or even what you've implemented, and begin to practice. The reason we had this talk today was to give you at least the week to begin to prepare. And like Cynthia has said, polish things, clean things up, put some activity there so that by Friday next week, we're on and cracking. What I would like to do, which is one of the things I wish we had done last year after the VOAfrica 2021, was attend to the things that we had learned afterwards together. Because we learned so much and a lot of people it began to disappear. Because like Ayuma has taught us, if you don't act on it, it will go. And it's not acted upon if you write in your book. So you need to begin to engage. So what we've planned is that we're going to encourage you, number one, if you can attend live, that's from Friday the 9th to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the afternoons, do. Because everything we've shared about is that interactive, connecting, live, dynamic presence that is a treasure. Many of us have said they won't be available, but you must reattend. If you've paid, maximize by reattending and do the post-conference tips that we've learned. Then, because there'll be so much, like last year, there was so much to assimilate. We at VOALK want to break it down a little bit more, and we'll be doing that in October. So the plan looking forward is that after the week of the Voice over Africa, which will be the 19th to the 23rd, 24th, reattend. And that means you go back to the Voice over Africa site, you watch what you liked, you watch what you weren't able to see. I don't know if anyone here has paid for the intensive sessions. If you have, we'll be asking that you share with us. I hope that I can at least attend the gaming one. I'm very, very interested in gaming. And if I do, then I will share what I learned. But the idea is that week, watch, rewatch. The following week, we will have Juliet Odhiambo, who was introduced to us by Ayuma, giving us a talk on the money trauma. Why? To unlock those issues we may have about valuing ourselves, pricing ourselves, when a job actually comes and now you need to quote. To be free, to know how to quote and to represent yourself well as an African voice talent and not feel inferior. And then the following week, I would like to suggest that for the people in Nairobi, we have a physical voice over, one of the Voice Actors League's workshops together, real time, face to face, away from this, online, I can't see you, can't touch you scenario. And we'll be putting that in the WhatsApp group and find out if there's a forum. That will be for the 25th of September. The following week, we will hit the ground and we'll start talking about what we've learned in the Voice over Africa. So we'll talk about the VO performance, we'll talk about demos, we'll talk about marketing, we'll talk about pricing. Marketing and networking will continue in one. And thankfully, thank you, Cynthia. Cynthia will come and give us a more fleshed out checklists, templates, equipping you with all of that. She'll do a workshop for us in the weeks of October. She'll be back in Nairobi and we'll be able to settle on a time that's convenient for her. So keep it locked to the Voice Actors League sites. Pay attention to what's coming and make yourself available. Make yourself available. I think that's it. So there's a lot of exciting stuff to look forward to.
Yes, thank you very much for that, Jenny. And just to add on top of that, that from now on, if you would like to get a ticket, you need to buy it directly from the website and pay by credit card. The PayPal option is not available. So unfortunately, if you did not take advantage of the discount beforehand, we're not able to give a discount now because it's out of our hands. So please go directly to the website to go ahead and get your ticket so you do not miss out. And yes, please follow us on our social media platforms. And yes, Jazz, please put them in the chat. On Facebook, I know it is VALK, Voice Over Actors League of Kenya. And yes, if you're not a member, please go ahead and be a member already. There are so many perks of being a member. We have full community support of people sharing resources that impact us. As you've heard, the connection with the money coach has come through our very own Michelle Ayuma. And this is what we do as the community members, is to help each other. So whatever resources you have, let us share within the group so that we can help each other thrive in our lives and in our voiceover careers. Thank you very much, each and every single one of you, for logging on. And I want to thank you, those who are going to be watching this later on. I hope that as you go through this material, you learn one thing that you can use to change your life in the direction that you would like to go. And I have been your host, Andrew Opere. You have been schooled today by Kenya's #1 voiceover artist, Cynthia Kimola, and your admin has been Jazz Mistri. And VALK is here. We would not be here if it wasn't for our president, Madam Excellency Jennifer Kanari. Thank you very much for creating VALK. And last but not least, we would not be here for each and every single one of you aspiring voiceover artists, professional voiceover artists on the journey to becoming better voiceover artists. I've been your host, Andrew Opere, and remember to share your comments on all our channels. Facebook, Instagram, it is VALK. Thank you very much and have a good day.